You brought milk to us. Did you see any baby or child or even a cat in this house that will drink milk? You did not deem it fit to bring a cow or two from your cows, but you came to insult us with milk. Leave this place immediately."
In the heart of Bada village lived a young woman named Amaku, known far and wide for her breathtaking beauty. Her parents, Nada and Abba, were poor but fiercely greedy, seeing in their daughter not just a beloved child, but a means to escape their poverty. Suitors from all corners of the land came to ask for Amaku's hand in marriage, drawn by her irresistible beauty. But no matter how many came, none were deemed worthy. Not because they lacked honor or love, but because they failed to meet the ever-growing demands of Amaku's greedy parents. This plan for the extortion of potential suitors was hatched by Amaku and her parents. Nada and Abba had a sinister plan. They would lavish false promises on each suitor, taking their gifts with happiness, while keeping Amaku's hand just out of reach. This cycle of deception and extortion affected various suitors, each from different walks of life, fell victim to their greed. Aka was a humble farmer from a neighboring village. He had toiled for years, saving every coin he earned, believing that one day he would find a woman who would cherish him as much as he would cherish her. When he heard of Amaku's beauty, he believed that with his modest saving and good heart, he could offer her a life of happiness. When Aka arrived at Nada and Abba's doorstep, they welcomed him with open arms. "Aka," Nada said with a cunning smile, "you seem like a good man, but our Amaku deserves the best. We need to be sure you can provide for her." Aka, earnest and hopeful, offered 10 full baskets of yam, 2 goats and gold trinkets, the best he could gather. But it wasn't enough for Nada and Abba. "Perhaps a few more baskets of yam and another goat would help us convince Amaku," Abba suggested. "But I've already given you everything I have," Aka said, worry creeping into his voice. "We understand," Nada replied, his tone oily and persuasive. "But if you truly love our daughter, you'll find a way." Aka, desperate to win Amaku's hand, returned home and borrowed from friends and family to meet their demands. He brought everything they asked for, only to be told later that Amaku had rejected him. Heartbroken, Aka pleaded for the return of his gifts, but Nada and Abba merely shrugged. "Gifts are not returned," Nada said coldly. Left with nothing, Aka returned to his village in shame. The yams he had given were meant to sustain him for the year, and the goats were his most valuable assets. Now, burdened with debt and despair, Aka's once hopeful future was replaced with hardship and agony. Obi, a wealthy trader from a distant town, was the next to fall into Nada and Abba's trap. Confident in his wealth, Obi arrived in Bada with an entourage bearing gifts that dazzled the greedy couple. He offered gold jewelry, fine cloth, and several cows, boasting of the luxurious life he could offer Amaku. Trying to mask his excitement, Nada said,
"These are wonderful gifts, Obi. But to secure Amaku's hand, you must prove that you can maintain this level of generosity throughout your marriage."
Obi, eager to claim Amaku as his bride, continued to send more extravagant gifts, rare spices, costly bundles of clothes and wrappers, and even brought more cows. But as time passed, Obi received no answer. Frustrated, he returned to Bada, only to be told that Amaku had refused him as well. Enraged, Obi demanded his gifts be returned. "Obi, do you think we are beggars?" Abba retorted angrily. "A gift is a gift. You should have known better." Obi's failed pursuit of Amaku marked the beginning of his downfall. The fortune he had wasted on Nada and Abba's greed strained his business, leading to a series of failed ventures. The once successful trader was reduced to a shadow of his former self, but he moved on with his losses. Azuka, a young warrior of great repute, was the next suitor to seek Amaku's hand. Known for his courage and strength, he believed that his valor would win him Amaku's heart. He offered his finest weapons, trophies from battles he had won, and a small chest of gold coins. Nada and Abba were angry that Azuka, though a reputable warrior, came to ask for the hand of their daughter in marriage, when he is obviously not wealthy. Nada and Abba pretended that they were happy with his gifts and made a request that will surely land Azuka into trouble. Nada said to Azuka,
"Prove your worth. Bring us something truly precious, perhaps the sacred leopard skin that belongs to your village elders."
Azuka's eyes widened in shock. The sacred leopard skin, but it is the most prized possession of our village. How can you ask for such a thing? "If you truly desire Amaku," Nada said with a wicked grin, "you will find a way to make it available." Desperate to marry Amaku, Azuka stole the sacred skin and presented it to Nada and Abba, who accepted it. But when he returned to claim his bride, he was met with the same fate as the others, which is rejection. Pleading for the return of the leopard skin, Azuka was met with cold refusal. Disgraced and dishonored, Azuka returned to his village, where his act had already been discovered. He was exiled for his theft, losing everything he had once held dear and losing his honor. A young man named Utom, who saw Amaku in the market, also came for her hand in marriage. He is a young, handsome man and a cow breeder. He came to introduce himself to Amaku's parents. He brought fresh cow milk in gourds, as he came with his friends. "You are welcome, my son," Nada stated. "What is the purpose of this visit?" Nada inquired. "I have come to ask for Amaku's hand in marriage, and I am presenting these gourds of fresh milk," Utom stated. "You know how beautiful Amaku is," Nada asserted, "and that she deserves a husband who will take care of her."
"Brought milk to us. Did you see any baby or child or even a cat in this house that will drink milk? You did not deem it fit to bring a cow or two from your cows, but you came to insult us with milk. Leave this place immediately."
Utom and his friends went home embarrassed by Nada's words. As news of Nada and Abba's greed spread, so did word of Amaku's unattainable beauty. Suitors began to avoid the house, wary of being deceived. But one day, a man arrived in Bada, a wealthy merchant from a distant land. The man wore fine clothes and carrying bags of gold, did everything Nada and Abba asked. He lavished them with gifts, praised their wisdom, and convinced them that he was the perfect match for Amaku. Finally, he won Amaku's hand in marriage. As the visitors celebrated, Amaku sat quietly by her husband, her face expressionless. Later in the night, when they were home and alone, the man revealed his true identity. He began, his voice cold and devoid of affection.
"Amaku, your parents think they are clever, but they are nothing more than greedy fools. I am no wealthy merchant. I am a palm wine tapper, and I have married you to teach you and your parents a lesson that you people will never forget."
Amaku gasped, her heart sinking at the weight of his words.
But why? What did I do to deserve this?
"You did nothing, but you will pay the price for your greed and that of your parents. And you will learn to live a modest life like most people in the village."
Amaku's husband taught Amaku a modest life, leaving her with food when it is available and without food when not available. He also forced her to work in the villagers' farmlands to complement his own income from palm wine business. Uncomfortable, Amaku informed her parents of her predicament. 2 days after, Nada and Abba visited and quickly reprimanded Amaku's husband on why he deceived them and their daughter into believing he is a wealthy man. He informed them that he did what was necessary to satisfy them, as only a rich man could marry their daughter. He reminded them that the debt he accumulated in buying gifts for them while trying to marry Amaku were borrowed funds, and such will be repaid by Amaku through her efforts in people's farmlands. He drove them away from his house and asked them never to come close to his house anymore. Nada and Abba were left with nothing but regret as they went home. Their greed had cost them everything: their daughter's happiness, their own respect in the village, and ultimately their daughter, who was their asset in extorting people, is now stuck with a poor husband. The gifts they had amassed from deceiving suitors increasingly diminished. One day, as Nada and Abba sat in their empty home, surrounded by the remnants of their ill-gotten wealth, Abba broke the silence.
We have lost everything.
I thought we could trick and extort all these suitors successfully, but in the end, we only cheated ourselves.
Nada stated. They lived out the rest of their days in misery, shunned by the very community they had once sought to impress. This story from Motherland Tales shows that greed in all its forms should be detested and desperation in all pursuits of life should be eschewed. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment to our channel so that whenever we post a new video, you will be the first to be notified. Thanks for watching.